Blog Talk Radio.
Are you ready for the summer? Are you ready for the sunshine? Are you ready for the fresh and green, the apple trees, and a whole lot of food? Are you ready for the summer? Are you ready for the hot nights? Are you ready for the fireflies, the moonlit stars, and a whole lot of food? No more petrol, no more rush, no more teachers serving us, no more dance and history, summertime and free. Are you ready for the summer? Are you ready for the good times? Are you ready for the summertime in the sun like summer rain?
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey, it's happy-go-lucky fun-time Mark here, your mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified. And this is the Radulich and Broadcasting Network Movie Review Podcast. I don't know why it somehow became the Movie Review Club or whatever the hell Winfrey calls it, but I'm here and he's not. He's currently wading his way down the white waters of Utah somewhere. Hopefully there'll be no big noises. Hopefully no one will make him squeal like a pig.
Can hear the banjo music right now.
That's, of course, a Deliverance reference for all you kids. But this is the Radulich and Broadcasting Network Movie Review Podcast, and we review the big tentpole movies of the week, or at the very least, movies that I managed to get to or take my kids to. That's how we roll. As I said, Winfrey is out because he went whitewater rafting. He also could not bring himself to review a Michael Bay-produced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live-action movie, especially after the first one came out in 2014. As people may recall, he and I got into a raucous caucus, a debate, if you will. Yelling and screaming was heard over the last Transformers movie. And with that said, he said, that's it. That's all I can stand, and I can't stand no more. So he skipped out. But stepping into the breach, my hero and yours, the third chair on the Metal Hammer of Doom, whether he likes it or not, the host of your favorite comic book podcast, Source Material, the co-host of the constantly wandering, you never know when there's going to be another one, From the Cheap Seats with Jason Teasley, who should also be joining us shortly. He's good to his mother. He has 3 children in his life that he takes care of. He's an American hero, Jesse Starcher. How do you do, sir?
Doing good, my man. Thank you for the intro. That was rather great description. And speaking of one of the kids, my daughter is bringing me down. What is this, Kira? Is this yogurt? Are you telling me you're going to give that yogurt to me? Okay. I get the remnants of some bad tasting yogurt here. So that. Okay. Thank you very much.
If she's going to bring you stuff on the podcast, you have to put her on the podcast. That's the rule.
Come here, Kira. Here, I'm going to let you, just real quick, I want you to explain, because we're talking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the movie tonight, all right? Specifically come here, I want you to discuss with Mark why you're upset about this, okay?
Turning into Mortal Kombat. Get over here.
All right, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi.
What's your name?
Kira. Starcher.
That's right, you're my daughter. And you are upset because of what happened over the weekend?
You took Caleb to the movies, and you did not take me.
Now, if I'm correct, you got to go see a movie, though, before me and Caleb went. And what movie was that?
Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Okay, what would you have rather seen, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Alice Through the Looking Glass?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which you did not take me to.
Okay. Say hi to Mark.
Hello.
Kira, this is Mark, and I'm on your side. I feel like your father is being sexist. I feel like he pigeonholes you into the movie for girls.
I don't know what
giving you an opportunity to see the movie.
Giving me 20 and laughing at me.
Well, Mark is a smart man.
Well, apparently, I'm gonna have to take those headphones back because something has gone wrong.
Wait, give me a minute with your precious daughter for a moment, okay?
Dad.
I promise I won't run you into the ground anymore. But since you did see Alice Through the Looking Glass, as it happens, Kira, because I'm a better father, I took my daughter, who is 5, to see both Turtles and Alice. She got to see both movies. What do you think of that?
Well, you need to teach my father how to be a better father.
Wait a second.
All right, my last question for you, since you did see the movie, what was your, give me your 50 words or less on Alice Through the Looking Glass. What did you like it? If you did or didn't, what did or didn't you like? Who was your favorite character? Just give me, this is English class. Give me your interpretations of Alice Through the Looking Glass.
It was okay. It wasn't awesome, but it wasn't bad. It was kind of weird because it was very different from the Alice in Wonderland, and it didn't have any. It had some of the characters from the first movie, but it was it was very different from what I expected it to be.
What did you expect?
I expected it to be awesome.
Okay. Well, that's a very good review. For my daughter's part, when I asked her which one she liked, she said she preferred Alice to Turtles, but then she also said she preferred Turtles to Alice to a different person, so who knows. But she did say that she liked Anne Hathaway, and she liked the White Queen, and she liked the Red Queen when they were little kids. She liked those scenes. She enjoyed that part of the movie.
So did I, but my mom kept making fun of the White Queen because she did weird things with her hands.
Okay, Kira, you were a wonderful guest on this podcast. I'll get a hold of your father and we'll fix him right for you. Okay, you be a good girl, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you for being on.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Good job, kiddo. Thanks for the nasty yogurt, by the way. I appreciate that. All right. Now that I feel like I don't know how I'm supposed to catch up and make my way to be a better father. Now I can't believe she actually said that. Unbelievable.
Well, she was weighing you against me. I think she thinks you're a perfectly fine father, but when compared to me, who took a 5-year-old to the double feature. Third chair in on the subject matter. Jason Teasley, how do you do, sir?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Can you even hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, obviously you can hear me through my Bluetooth and not my headset. So this is going to be interesting.
Oh, goody.
What's going on?
I do so enjoy when we have great Spanish.
I'm trying to get in on Blog Talk, but it's being through Skype, and everybody knows how Skype and Blog Talk like to screw things up.
Yeah, they're not friends.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Well, how's everybody doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man.
We're having a little fun with Jesse's family here. Real quick, Jesse, and then let's actually get to the movie review.
Sure.
Why didn't you take her to go see Turtles?
I have never taken my son Caleb to a movie by himself. Okay, now
that's fair.
I could go into a whole big subplot about how when those two are together, there's going to be a fight at some point, probably within a half hour if they're in the same room. So
okay.
I wanted some peace, and Caleb was actually really good. Other than having to get up 3 times to take him to the bathroom, I was good. He actually did really well and enjoyed the movie and sat through the whole thing, unlike Avengers a couple of years back.
Okay. All right. Well, I can certainly understand that. I watched, I had my kids up a little bit while I was watching the Takeover special tonight. For those of you that don't know, that's WWE NXT Spring brand. Yeah, has their quarterly pay-per-view basically. And I had my kids up for a little bit watching that. My daughter was into watching American Alpha versus the Revival. And 2 minutes into it, my son just starts chopping her and splashing her. Yeah, he's all. I was like, Jonas, watch the match. You'll learn some other moves. And he was just like, no, chop. He's two. All right, nobody cares about any of this. Let's get into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. This is the sequel to the 2014 reboot that came after the 1990 trilogy plus one. Real quick, do either of you know for sure if TMNT, which was the animated computer-generated, the CGI movie that came out after Turtles in Time, was that supposed to be the fourth in the series, or was that a standalone movie? Because when we look at the Wikipedia,
it was a standalone.
It's a little unclear.
Yeah. Teasley said it was a standalone, which it was. I went to the theaters and actually watched that. I was so excited that they actually released an animated movie. But it was pretty much standalone.
Okay.
It was awesome. I loved it.
This is a brand new bag. It was directed by Dave Green, written by Josh Applebaum and Andre Nemec. It was produced by Michael Bay, and it brings back several actors from the first movie, Megan Fox specifically, and introduces a few new ones, like Stephen Amell as Casey Jones and Tyler Perry as, what was the doctor's name?
Baxter Stockman.
Baxter Stockman. And of course, we have Sheamus from the WWE, who plays Rocksteady, and some other dude who plays Bebop. So let me right out. I don't want to get too much into how do you guys relate to Turtles and why did you want to do this? Because we're going to talk a lot about that tomorrow on the Long Road to Ruin. So let's just focus on this movie. Real quick, just I want to take the temperature of the room. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought after Batman v Superman and fucking Civil War, who we all know how I feel about that movie now. I've heard the previous couple of podcasts. And then X-Men. This has been not only the summer of overstuffed movies, but like quasi-depressing movies. This one was just sugar in your veins fun. I had a grand old time at the old theater watching four turtles who and I'll get into a little bit of this tomorrow, who I have zero relationship to. I never understood the appeal of the Ninja Turtles. But, divorced from those feelings aside, it was just a fun action movie for me. And I thought there was a solid plot, which I'll get into in a few minutes. It was reasonably well acted for what it was. And, overall, I really didn't have a whole lot of problems with it. I'm sure if Winfrey were here, he would be, trying to hit me over the head with something. But, I mean, but without Winfrey being here, I can gaily traipse through the flowers and tell everyone how happy I am. I thought it was a great movie. I had a lot of fun. I would gladly go see it again if I had to. What did you guys think? Starcher then Teasley.
All right. I enjoyed it myself. I had a good time also. It's really hard for me to go into a movie like that and like you guys do on this show. You guys I know, Mark, you're a staunch supporter of going into a movie without much bias, okay? And not let what the source material or, other things such as shows, stuff like that, kind of warp your view of what you're about to go into. Now, unfortunately, I can only do that so far. Going into this, I picked some stuff apart just because of the way things looked and how some of the characters acted, and I'm sure we'll get into that here in a few. But aside from all that, aside from me picking on it a little bit, I thought it was fun. It was a good story. There were some things where I was questioning the laws of physics, but you're not supposed to do that, not with this type of movie. And I had to remind myself that like 2 or 3 times throughout it. It's about having fun, and I think they did a good job.
Okay. Steve?
I mean, it was a lot of nostalgic value to me, but in the long run, I did have a lot of issues with it. But I'm still not a fan of the design of the turtles, and I think they could have done without Casey Jones. But we'll get into a little bit more of that later on the show. But other than that, I mean, I'm not going to be like Winfrey and totally bag on it, but I did have some issues with it, so I'll be taking his role of being the damper on it, your little happy parade, Mark.
the resident ant at a picnic. Sure, we need a little bit of that. This podcast is going to be 20 minutes of nothing but pure saccharine positivity, and nobody wants that.
No.
So, all right, let's get into the plot here. We find our turtles. First of all, did you guys see the first movie? This is yes or no. I don't need a whole diatribe. Yes or no?
Yes.
First movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we find our turtles after the first movie, after having saved New York City, but still wanting to remain anonymous. They have allowed Will Arnett's character to take credit for taking down the Shredder, who is currently in police custody. They, however, have gone back into anonymity, and we see them struggling with that at the very beginning of the film. As I said, Shredder is in police custody, and he is being transported by Correctional Officer Casey Jones to a maximum security prison in upstate New York. The Foot proceed to break him out using technology that they have found, and it's currently being utilized by Tyler Perry's character, Dr. What's-he?
Baxter Stockman.
Baxter Stockman is working with the Foot Clan to help do a number of different things, but ultimately, at this juncture, get Shredder out of prison. There is an elongated chase sequence where the turtles catch up with the caravan and the Foot that's taking Shredder to prison. Ultimately, they lose Shredder. Shredder gets away, but not back to the Foot Clan necessarily. He gets recaptured by Krang, making his first appearance in this series. And Krang tells him, yeah, that piece of machinery that you're using as a transporter, that's only one part of a giant gizmo. And here's the plan, Stan. You're going to find the other two pieces for me. There were three pieces. You've got one. You're going to find the other two. You're going to put it together. We're going to use it to bring in the Terror Dome from the Public Enemy album. We're going to bring
Chuck
my
D
Terror
is
Dome.
going to be showing up pretty soon.
Yeah. Flavor Flav will be coming from Dimension X, where he belongs.
Oh, that's where he's from.
No, they're going to open up. They're going to use the Tesseract to open up a portal through space and time, and they're going to bring through his war machine, and they're going to use it to take over the Earth. And in doing so, Shredder will rule at his side. That is what is promised. And Shredder says, "That's all fine and dandy, Jack. Here's the problem. The turtles are too strong. They are stronger than my Foot Clan. We can't take them down. We've already tried, and that's how I ended up in this awesome orange jumpsuit." Enter Bebop and Rocksteady. Krang gives him the purple drink that the black folks drink, and he says, "Use this."
Purple drink.
He says, "Use this purple drink to turn some of your errand boys into giant monsters." And it does. Seamus becomes a rhinoceros, and Bebop becomes a warthog, a little piggy. From there, the chase is on as Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady proceed to find the other two pieces of the machine, and the turtles try to stop them. This leads to an action sequence in Brazil where Rocksteady is chasing them down a waterfall with a tank, as you see in the commercial, and it's awesome. Along the way, the turtles are not only struggling with, should they or should they not live in the shadows. What is a normal life, they ask themselves, and is a normal life something that is worth living or not worth living? They struggle with these things Leonardo is also having a hard time creating a team dynamic. While they appreciate one another as brothers, they are having, even still after one movie, they are having a difficult time melding as a team. And so they have all these obstacles to overcome. There's the self-doubt. There's an identity issue. Should we or should we not be human and regular and normal? What is it to be a team? How do we all contribute? And the team nearly falls apart before Shredder gives Leonardo some advice, and he's able to get over himself and sort of pull the team together, just in the nick of time. Shredder succeeds in putting the machine back together, and Krang promptly says, "Who the?" and says, "I'm a snake. Why would you trust me?" Proceeds to freeze him and put him in a trophy case. That's the end of Shredder. The Turtles proceed in our final act to take down the Terror Dome. They are going to reverse polarities, cross streams, do all sorts of things to reverse the beam so that all the stuff from the Terror Dome goes back to where it came from, along with Krang.
Hold on, Mark. I got to fix something. It's the Technodrome, not the Terror Dome.
Whatever. Castle Grayskull.
You're ruining my childhood even more than Michael Bay.
Anywho, so they take the Cobra's lair and they send it back to...
No!
Don't make me get Winfrey on you.
All right, the Technodome, is that what it's called?
Teasley?
Technodrome.
There you go.
Okay, got it. They blow up the Death Star for a second time. And,
God, I want to say
so anyway, they send Krang back to Dimension X. He says, "I'll get you next time, Turtles. Next time." Who knows what cartoon that was really from?
What, next time?
I'll get you next time, so-and-so, next time.
I do not know.
That's Inspector Gadget.
Inspector Gadget? Is that Dr. Claw?
Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, I'll get you next
Gadget
time, Gadget. All right, so Krang says, "I'll get you next time, Gadget, next time." He goes off to Dimension X. The Turtles decide, they decided well before this, but they decide they're going to continue to be Turtles. They are recognized by the police for their efforts. They're given keys to the city, but they choose to continue to remain in the shadows, anonymous, so they continue to do their good works without the trouble of being known to the public. They now know what it is like to not just be brothers, but be a team. And the movie ends with the Turtles having loved and learned and gone through an entire arc. That's my plot synopsis. Screwed up names aside. And along the way, Megan Fox and Casey Jones do stuff.
It's true.
I've been talking a lot now. I want to give it to you guys. I want to go to Teasley first. Since this is normally where Winfrey runs me over with his tank in a waterfall and tells me all the things that he hates about the movie and all the things that are wrong with it. Since you're playing the role of Winfrey tonight, why don't you go first and say why you're a communist and a homosexual?
Well, wow. So now I'm playing the role of a communist homosexual Winfrey clone. I think Robert would take obsession to that, and I do too. But
he's also no sell it, and I'd be sitting here listening to silence. No, sir. In all seriousness,
that's okay.
Sir. Why don't you go ahead?
First and foremost, the Turtles look like they're juiced up Brock Lesnar roid rage, and I can't get over that. I don't like that. They look like Shrek with masks. Secondly, some of the CGI was really, really horrible. Some of it was good. There was no gray area. It was either really good or really horrible. Casey Jones and April O'Neil provided absolutely no damn effort in this. You could have took them out and had the same exact movie. They were just plot points to appease 90s fans, just like Shredder was in this. But in honor of Mark, I'll also give some good points. The Technodrome was amazing. It looked awesome. Krang, not so much the body of Krang, but Krang himself. I really liked that. And I think a lot of stuff was rushed at the end. It was the whole, we don't know how to be a team, but suddenly we're going to be a team because that's what movie says so. And it like build up. I think you should have had a lot more struggle. You could have still had the tension, especially. I like the tension of the whole Raphael, Leonardo dynamic. You know, they're kind of clashing to see. Basically, they're having a pissing contest, and it's basically brains, the leadership versus, you know, the brawn and the muscle of the group, which I think the whole intro of the pizza kid and the muscle and the brains and I thought that was ridiculous. I mean, by this time, if you don't know the roles of the turtles, you don't need it spelled out for you. You shouldn't even be in the damn movie theater if you don't know who your turtles are and their roles in the team. I still think Splinter looks horrible, which is the horrible CGI. Stephen Amell, I think he'd be a good Casey Jones, but I think he was shoehorned into this. Him and the April thing, especially when they give him this kind of hinting of a love story, that just kind of sucked. Especially when you can just strap, like, just random wheels to your feet and learn how to inline skate because, you know, hey, it's a movie. And especially outrun a motorized vehicle. Even better. So that's all I have to say. I'll turn it over to Jesse and let him, like, patronize you, Mark, and give you the umbrella to shield you from the rain that I'm giving on your parade.
Oh, goodness, Teasley. First off, you know, the whole inline skate thing you're talking about and all that stuff, that was one of those incidents where I had to tell myself, okay, Starcher, step back. Remember, when you were 12 or 10 years old watching the cartoon, your ass wasn't thinking about stuff like that. You were enjoying the cartoon for what it was. And I think if you honestly look at this movie in the vein of the cartoon and throw everything else out, you can't take it too seriously. It's fucking 4 turtles that are ninjas that are running around New York, and there's just no way you could actually try and sit there and go, okay, this shouldn't be happening. Now, when it comes to the design aspects of the turtles, Teasley, I 100% agree, and you feel free, Teasley, to hop in anytime, because I'm going to try and go like character by character. I won't take too long here, and just kind of give you my bits and gripes about each one of them. The turtles should not have fucking noses. All right, that's been established since the first movie. I just think I hate the design. Their face is just horrible. But hey, somebody want to put a spin on it and give the turtles noses? Great, congratulations! You got 2 blockbuster movies that have turtles with noses. I like the dynamic between Raph and Leo, just like Teasley said. The leadership. These guys have never gotten along, and that's what I love about these turtles. And of course, Donnie and Mikey are in the back, just kind of trying to hang out and stay out of their way. So they did a good job in regards to that. I don't have any beef about Splinter. I think he was pretty negligible. I don't even think he did much other than whip Casey Jones' ass in this movie, and that was it. As for Shredder, I mean, that was just like almost a footnote. And when Shredder met up with Krang like straight up abducted him out of nowhere, okay? And Shredder's just kind of standing there, and that whole scene where Shredder first meets Krang, it just felt like I was sitting there thinking, well, there's a history between these guys. That's what I was hoping for. I had hoped like somebody had got smart and said, okay, we're going to throw these two together in this next movie, but there's going to be all this history that's happened before, and it's not going to be mentioned. But instead, it was like, hey, I just got abducted by aliens, a living brain, and he's sitting here talking to me, and I'm not freaking out in any way. That felt totally like it shouldn't be. It just wasn't. It didn't feel right to me.
Especially with Shredder being the dominant force and a formidable foe for the Turtles, just to basically bow down to Krang and say, "Okay, I'm gonna be your henchman."
Exactly. Well, I was expecting Shredder to be like, "All right, let's go." I thought he was going to start fighting or do something to get the hell out. He's like immediately just submissive. And I was like, "This is."
Can I interject here on behalf of Shredder? Number one, he was just abducted by an alien.
Transported.
Okay. After being transported by vehicle nearly to prison. Okay, I guess my first thing. One, why didn't he freak out? Well, he's supposed to be a ninja. He's supposed to be in control of his feelings. I think you can play freaked out without being Daffy Duck about it. Not everything has to be big. I think there was some wide-eyed surprise through it, but he's still a grown man and a murderer. I don't think he had to be, I think it would have taken you out of the movie if the reaction was too big. To the second point, he was promised that he would be ruling alongside Krang over the Earth. That's why he agreed to do it. He absolutely said, "What's in it for me?" And and it's not like this wasn't a situation with like Unicron and Galvatron from the Transformers movie. What's in it for me? I won't murder you. All right. This one, he thought he was getting in on the deal, and Krang betrayed him in the end. So I thought that all flowed. I thought it followed.
Yeah. I don't.
But if you remember from the television series, they had a dynamic. They didn't like each other. They had a history. They clashed at every turn. It was like bad 1A, 1B, and it was like they would have a pissing contest to see who could kill the Turtles.
Okay,
and
but
they had a rivalry amongst each other.
But like I said to Jesse, to me the film stands on its own with no. I understand. I appreciate what you're saying, but I didn't know that because I don't remember the cartoon. What little of it that I did watch. B, I don't care. What I care about was
well,
what
you
the
could
film
care.
I think that there's a familiarity that just comes across on the screen between those two when they first show up that really doesn't have an explanation for being there. Things just go too smoothly between the meeting of these two guys at the first meeting. That's why I was hoping there was a bit of a history because things went so smoothly. I was like, I would just love it for Shredder to be like, okay, Krang, what's going on, man? I ain't seen you in a while. But if it worked for you, Mark, great. That's again, I'm going into this movie with, all the history of what's come before that. I'm trying not to go into it with expectations, but it just felt like it was too forced. All right, Casey Jones. Teasley, what did you say about Casey Jones? I want to know what you liked or what you didn't like about Casey Jones.
He was useless. he didn't. You could take Casey Jones out of the movie and have the exact same movie. He really served no purpose.
He saved April O'Neil in the beginning of the movie.
Okay, and you could have took him out and had the Turtles intervene and got the same result.
I'll give you that. I don't think he adds a tremendous amount other than he's on the team, and so they gave him stuff to do. Instead of having the Turtles face off
star power
instead of having the Turtles face off with Rocksteady and Bebop, once the stuff in Brazil ends, they had him face off with them instead. And it's like, I don't know what payoff that I don't know how that pays anything off. It was, to me, it was just an act. It was something to give Stephen Amell something to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's unfair to say without Megan Fox, there's no story. Megan Fox is what drove a lot of the early part of the plot. She's the one who's suspicious of Tyler Perry. She's the one tracking him. Without her, the Turtles get no information. It's only after the whole the prison transport sequence that the Turtles are even in on what the plot is. She up until that point, she's the one driving it.
But what is April O'Neil known as?
Sex symbol?
Well, no. What was her job in the Turtles TV shows in the first one?
She was
a reporter.
She was, and guess what? You don't see any mention of that, and suddenly at the end she's a reporter again. She doesn't get recognized because she was part of the news reporting team that had the footage of Shredder and everything. But yet she goes unknown through the entire movie, and magically she's a news reporter at the end again.
Oh, that's not fair. She was an investigative reporter, and she was investigating a story.
But it doesn't give that. It doesn't. It's one of those things. Oh yeah, well we just have to assume that she's. She never exposes that she's still being a reporter until the end of the movie. It's okay. We're and where the fuck was her yellow jumpsuit?
Teasley is stuck back in the 80s and the 90s, man, with the cartoon,
well,
and I don't blame him.
You shut your whore mouth, Jesse Starcher.
I don't blame you, Teasley. I don't blame you. Those are some good times, buddy.
Why is Tom Bombadil not in the movie? Oh, Lord of the Rings sucks because there's no Tom Bombadil.
You shut your whore mouth too, Mark Radulich.
No yellow jumpsuit. Okay, I see where Teasley's coming from because honestly, it didn't occur to me. I thought the whole news reporter thing wasn't even going to be addressed throughout the whole movie and then just like Teasley said at the very end, she's a news reporter. So I don't.
Me too. It wasn't mentioned anywhere in the movie until the end.
I don't think it was important.
You two are bright, college-educated gentlemen. You needed it spelled out that she was an investigative journalist. What did you need the hat that says?
Yeah, I do.
I didn't see shit about it, man.
They want to do 90s nostalgia, then I'm going to treat myself like I'm a fucking 12-year-old when I watch the movie.
Okay. That's one way of looking at it.
All right. Let me ask you, Teasley. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first movie, Casey Jones. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Out of the Shadows, Casey Jones. Which one's better?
Oh, the first one. I hate
to
say it, but the first one, because he was more of a served more of a purpose in the original trilogy. And he actually done stuff. He actually contributed things. This Stephen Amell they was wanting another star to piggyback on his success that he has through the DC TV universe's Arrow. They attach him to this to get the star power, to get the name, to even draw more people in, when they didn't really need to do it. Like Mark pointed out, he was basically there as a plot point to deal with Bebop and Rocksteady at the end. That was his only purpose of the whole damn movie.
Let me jump in here. Let me jump in with something about Casey Jones. I'll give you this much. Here's my only thought about that. I thought, like you're saying, after about the half the movie is over, he kind of runs out of stuff to do up until the sort of shoehorned in action sequence at the end. My only issue with it, because as the judge here, I'll allow it, is that I think Steve Amell doesn't play the character dark enough. he's too golly gee whiz, and I sure am gonna be a police detective someday. Like he doesn't play him. Casey Jones was sort of responding to the muck and mire of New York City having gone to hell in a handbasket. He's walking around with a hockey stick, and this isn't even a why isn't Tom Bombadil in the movie kind of a thing. This is his character. His character, correct me if I'm wrong, was, New York's gone to hell. I have to save it, and he sort of, he's this vigilante. Whereas Steve Amell is not dark in any way. He doesn't play the character dark. He, everything was just sort of, he has to have a hockey stick because, in other words, like, he isn't so much of a character as he was a collection of traits. Mm-hmm. He has a hockey mask. He has a hockey stick. He hits people in the head with hockey pucks. His name is Casey Jones. And so all of these traits are there, but the heart of the character is missing.
No, I agree with you 100%.
And then, I agree with that too. And it wasn't just a hockey stick. He had an array of sporting equipment. He had a baseball bat. He had a hockey stick. I mean, he had these things
Cricket.
that he used.
You guys remember Cricket from the first movie? I mean, he had a cricket bat in his freaking from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1. I mean, he was all over the place. Carried a golf bag full of like weapons.
Right. And I think every time they try to give him a backstory, they miss the point.
Yeah.
The only reason why I don't complain about it is the only reason why I don't complain about it is if you don't know anything about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You basically have a guy who just gets drummed out of the New York City correctional department and sort of, vows revenge. Mm-hmm. And then gets mixed up with the Ninja Turtles. Like, I've seen more offensive characters.
And product placement. Casey Jones was there for product placement because if you didn't see the emblem on his car at least 30 times, you didn't see it once.
SRT.
Well, I'm going to say the same thing to you that I said to Winfrey when we talked about Transformers. I got to pay for these movies somehow.
Product
well,
placement.
I'm pretty sure Chrysler paid for 90% of the movie due to his car. Because every time you seen him, they had to show the SRT emblem.
Let me say one more thing about Casey Jones. We'll move on. I want to move on to Bebop and Rocksteady, but Casey Jones, when they first showed the trailer and I saw Casey Jones as a character, I was excited, okay? Another thing that they did was put him in this film just to get people like me who are, excited about the old product, hopefully showing up in the new product. I mean, shit, we had Krang, we had Bebop, Rocksteady, all these great characters that again, I was very familiar with showing up in the new, and now we got Casey Jones, one of my favorite characters of the Ninja Turtles. Dude, I'm stoked, and it was a complete and utter letdown.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Your son's not particularly familiar with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lore, is he?
Sort of, but nowhere, nothing like me.
What did he think of Casey Jones?
I asked him who his favorite character was. His favorite character was Raphael. No mention of Casey Jones. I certainly didn't ask him about Casey Jones because that's so pissed off.
I love your son even more. I love your son even more. We share our favorite turtle.
That's right, buddy. That's right. It's not like Caleb come out of there going, that Casey Jones sucks. What a bunch of bullshit. And then I would have washed his mouth. That was so. But
if he did come out of the theater and said that, I couldn't get mad because I think it would be hilarious.
But he didn't have an opinion one way or the other.
Okay, real quick, because we skirted past this before. We can continue sort of talking about characters and performances, but I want to just address something that Teasley said in his whole spiel about everything wrong with the movie. Can I just say I like the way the Turtles look? I think they look better as CGI buff Brock Lesnar looking monsters than they did in shitty puppets, or turtle suits or whatever the hell they wore in the 90s, where they all looked exactly the same. Save the stupid masks they're wearing.
You can say that, Mark. You can say you like the Turtles, but Jesse, will you like to use my tagline on Mark?
It's okay to be wrong, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, let me explain myself, and you can continue to believe that I'm wrong. It's a free country, but I'm right. Listen, the CGI, the way that they did the turtles, first of all, I don't care that they have noses. They could have given them unicorn horns for all I gave a shit. You want to call them turtles and give them unicorn horns? Be my guest. It's a free world, baby. But what I like about them was I like the fact that they're different heights. I like the fact that some are thinner than others. I like the fact that Raphael really does look like Brock Lesnar. I like the fact they're all wearing something a little bit different to kind of give, to add to their characters. I mean, if we're going to compare, if you look at the ones in the 90s, yes, you get the idea that they have distinct personalities. You have, the brains, the heart, the leader, and the muscle, the bad attitude. But I feel like you still need a little bit more than that. I think your identity is not just what's inside; it's also on the outside. You got, we all walk around. We all don't wear the same clothing. We all don't wear the same, jewelry or anything. We wear something that's at least to a degree reflective of our personality or at least our tastes, and it's all different. Why wouldn't the turtles be that way? So I like the fact that that they look distinctly different, that they're not just, 4 carbon copies of the same things just with different masks on. They even wear the masks differently. So I liked all that. I like the way they looked in the first movie. I like the way they looked in this one.
I like the fact that they got different builds and stuff, but I think that they made them look like, basically they took the model of Shrek and said, here. I mean, they look like Shrek, a live action Shrek. And
I don't think they look like.
I mean, I do like the I'll agree with you. I do like it showed personalities, but their personalities show through their appearance. I'm not saying I don't like that, but it's like they went, instead of tweaking it, they went over the top with it.
So
they look like these big hulking monsters. No wonder people would be scared of them. They're supposed to fear them, but not be. They're supposed to be in fear of them because they don't know who they are, not intimidate them because they're 9 foot tall green turtles.
Okay. So Jesse just sent us a picture of the comparison between the way they were drawn in the first movie versus how they're drawn in the second movie, and it's using Michelangelo as the comparison.
Yeah.
And okay, I can see what you guys mean by noses now.
Yeah.
And
fuck those noses.
No, here's what I'll tell you why the noses work. Okay.
I can't wait to hear this.
Okay, I can't remember where I saw it recently. Or something I was reading about. Oh, I was reading about the studio executives and their thoughts on Cyclops in preparation for the X-Men podcast that we did. And one of the things that the executive said about Cyclops is he's not relatable. You can't see his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do we learn from this? We learned that studio executives like to see faces. This is why in Spider-Man 3, Topher Grace is constantly coming out of the Venom mask. This is why in the Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd movie, he kept taking off his fucking helmet because studio executives like to see actors' faces. They think that's what sells the movie. So in the case of the Turtles, when you have those big round noses, there's less face, there's less you can do in terms of facial expressions. When you actually put a human face on a green head, you can do more with the facial expressions, and therefore it's more sellable to a general audience.
Okay.
So I'll allow it.
I just can't.
Damn right you will.
All right. Well, okay. Did you finish your point there, Mark? I know I was getting ready to go to Bebop and Rocksteady, did you hopped in there? Did we cover everything you wanted to cover?
Yeah, I just, in summary, I think you're being a little too hard on the beaver. I think the turtles look just fine.
All right, then. All right. Teasley, what do you think of Bebop and Rocksteady?
I honestly, I was thoroughly impressed how they did Bebop and Rocksteady. I think they caught a lot of their personality, and surprisingly, Seamus did a very good job acting.
Oh yeah, he did not do horrible like I thought he would do. He did really good.
I mean, especially, they got their mannerisms. A lot of the mannerisms were shown through, which was really. Some of the good CGI was Bebop and Rocksteady. Some of the action sequences, but as their human form, I think they played it over the top.
Oh, that's what they're supposed to do, though. I'm
saying they played it too goofy.
Oh, really?
They basically took the cartoon personalities because originally they wasn't over the top, if you remember. They didn't get over the top until they realized that they're actually a rhino and a warhawk. And then their comedic side, I guess you could say, the personality started shining through.
I got
but
you.
When they was in their human form, it was like they was playing it up too much. Because the basis was there was two flunkies that can never do anything, and they ended up in Shredder's clutches in the cartoon, and he wanted to experiment on him, which there's a big gaping thing that I want to get to when we get to Baxter Stockman.
Okay.
Well, I definitely want to talk about him next.
Okay. But I think they did. The personalities of Bebop and Rocksteady were there. I just wish they would have toned it down a little bit on the human side and then let it manifest when they become the characters.
Mm-hmm.
But just kind of had that hard edge, a little harder edge when they was in before the transformation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's what I'll agree with Teasley. I actually do agree with him a little bit on the Bebop and Rocksteady because I thought they were hilarious. I thought they captured the spirit of the characters they're trying to portray from the cartoon at the very least. I couldn't tell you about the comic book. My one complaint, a little too juvenile. Now, I understand this is at the end of the day, this was a kids movie. This was a movie that was geared towards children, and morons like me who like to watch stuff blow up.
There was a fart joke in there too.
That's where I'm going with this. Is it got a little too juvenile after a while. See, I'm not into like blue humor like that. I'm not into gross humor, and I know that's that's appealing for kids, especially boys, who is your main target audience of this thing. Grossed out humor is something that boys are attracted to, and I guess that's where what separates me from your average child, other than the fact that I'm 40. I'm not really into gross out humor, and I feel like that's a lot of what these characters were. There was a lot of nose picking and farting, and everything was just gross. And it was like, I was okay with them being morons, less okay with them being gross.
Okay. Oh, I was straight up elbowing Caleb and going, ha ha, look at that, he farted.
That doesn't surprise me.
I was having a blast. But no, I thought, Bebop and Rocksteady were, I think, the finest point of the movie, in my opinion. When it comes to CGI, I know there are some really tough critics out there, but I wasn't taken out of the movie at any point in regards to the CGI. And of course, we got 4 turtles, we got a rat, a warthog, a rhinoceros, all mutated, and it didn't it didn't bother me one bit that they were all completely computer generated. And I think the way Bebop and Rocksteady were portrayed was probably one of the most faithful to the cartoon as it possibly could be. And they were enjoyable to see now. I like the way Seamus and the other guy portrayed these guys. So they get my vote as for the best part of the movie.
Okay, let's talk about Baxter Stockman. One person say that when I saw that Tyler Perry was playing him, the one thing they constantly showed in the trailers was him going, "This is gonna be good," and him like running and hitting a button. And I was like, "Oh no! If this is gonna be like a complete like over the top Medea, stupid performance, what am I thinking of? Blackface." Minstrel type shit, where he has to, everything has to be over the top. Everything has to be like, look at me, I'm acting through the screen, kind of a performance. I'm gonna just need to leave the theater. And thankfully, Tyler Perry wasn't really like that. Tyler Perry, I thought, played the character subdued enough that the occasional outburst of energy or excitement over a genuine scientific discovery or moment, I thought was okay. I actually thought, on balance, he played the character well without knowing anything about the character. I thought the character on screen worked. I thought his character worked. I liked his contribution. I especially liked at the end his feeling of betrayal as they're dragging him away. I actually thought Tyler Perry did a really good job with that character.
Teasley, what do you think, man?
I think he played Neil deGrasse Tyson very well. But this is the big glaring hole that I wish would have been included in this movie. They had so much 90s cartoon nostalgia. Where was the Mousers?
Oh, they missed so much, man.
Even if they would have just placed it like in the background or something, him designing the Mousers or something, just have a homage to it, I would have been so giddy.
Oh, and the fact that he doesn't even fucking turn into a fly. I mean,
I think they're holding that for the next one.
They clearly come out of this movie. There's a third one. There's a third one that's got to happen. I mean, they just leave that completely. If there's not a third one, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, I think the third one's going to center around Stockman.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm going to tell you right now that Megan Fox is signed for 3 movies, so there's going to be a third one.
Okay, all right.
And like I said, if they would have had the Mousers, which I think maybe the Mousers will come up in the third one, and that's where he turns because really you have no other. I mean, you don't really have a predominant villain other than Stockman to be the villain in the third one. I mean, you've got some of the lesser ones. I mean, the only one that would be even relevant would be Rat King, and we don't even want to go into that one, Jesse.
We learn a lot on the Source Material podcast, that's for sure.
I have yet to listen to that one.
When you find out what a Rat King is, buddy, you'll never forget.
But I mean, I think that they're going to go toward the Mousers and Stockman turning into the Fly as being a thing gone wild, because he feels that he's got to overcome the Turtles to show that he's better than Shredder. That's the only route I can think of. They go for the third one. I don't know. But yeah, if they would have just threw like some little homage to the Mousers, I think that this movie, that was the only thing missing in this movie. They shoehorned everything else in, but something that would have actually contributed to the story, they left out with Stockman.
Okay. When it comes to Tyler Perry, I think this is probably the first movie I've ever watched with him in it. So, as many as those.
Gone Girl.
Oh yeah, that's right. He is in Gone Girl. He plays the lawyer, doesn't he? Yep. I do remember that.
Movie.
Okay.
Great movie.
Yeah, it is. Very good. But yeah, I was not. I wasn't, really. I was kind of indifferent on his portrayal. He did kind of goof it up a little bit. a little too much in my opinion. But it wasn't anything where I was like, oh, geez, this guy again. He did decent. It wasn't horrible. So I won't gripe other than the fact of, there was stuff that I think they could have done with him. Just like Teasley said, there was a whole lot of stuff they could have done with him that, they just decided not to do. And they're probably saving for the third movie. But yeah, when you say Baxter Stockman and you turn around and he doesn't turn into a fly, I'm out. When you say Casey Jones and he shows up and he does very, very little and he isn't played the way that, I was hoping, he felt more like a cop in this movie than he did a vigilante still. I still don't get the vigilante feel at all for Casey Jones. I'm done talking about Casey Jones. We're not going back that route. I apologize.
I was just going to tell you, he's not a vigilante in this movie.
No.
They just abandoned
He's a Boy Scout.
So that's disappointing.
He's a Gee golly good Boy Scout.
That's not Casey Jones. Gosh.
Yeah, he doesn't have the Casey
But
Jones
let me tell you, Megan Fox was ruined for me when Teasley told me about Megan Fox's hidden attribute. And what one is that, Teasley?
It's her toe thumb.
Oh gosh. Ugh.
Her thumbs that look like big toes.
Whatever.
Take a good look at that next time there.
Look it up. Look it up, Mark. It will ruin you.
First of all, you homos, you're not kicking Megan Fox out of the bed for eating crackers. So stop making fun of whatever it is you're making fun of.
I will say this. Her look has drastically changed. I mean, I think, and I don't know if it's intentional or not. But if you look back at her when she was in the first Transformers to now, she has a little bit more elegant, more sophisticated look. She doesn't. I guess she just presents herself a little bit better. But if you really want to ruin your thoughts of Megan Fox, go watch Jennifer's Body, and then tell me. And when you see her in the refrigerator acting like a gremlin, and you don't laugh, and it's just one of the most horrendous things. But you do get to see her boobs. So there's the payoff.
Well, I'm certainly not going to be watching that movie anytime soon. Mindy,
it's worth a viewing just to see Megan Fox's boobs and her being a gremlin.
How about if we skip the movie and just Google Megan Fox's boobs?
The internet. There she blows.
But the movie, it just makes the movie so much better because you're like, this is at the peak of when she was becoming real awesome, and she actually chose to do this movie. Why?
But look, she is Megan Fox with a limited acting range. There's not too many. Not every producer
like
or director in Hollywood feels the need to sleep with her, so there's only a limited amount of parts she's going to get.
Well, I mean, she's actually the portrayal, the theater thing that I'm talking about. She's basically Gollum.
No,
that's all I'm going to say.
Let me ask a quick question, quick poll. All right, Mark Radulich, you first. Megan Fox or Samantha Fox?
I want to have some fun. Move my body all night long. Samantha Fox.
How about you,
Can
Teasley?
I take Jamie Foxx?
Oh, no, man. Jeez.
No, I'm into Rachel. I'm appeasing the black community by choosing Jamie Foxx.
Oh my goodness, Mark, you better take control, buddy.
Gay.
I will stab you in your throat, and then save your life.
You're the one wanting to bang Jamie Foxx. What, you got a thing for Electro, you homo?
I didn't. Hold on. No, hold on. He did not say who would I bang. He just said Megan Fox or Samantha Fox.
It was
and
implied.
I said I prefer Jamie Foxx.
No, it was implied. Which one would you want to screw in the poop chute? And clearly the answer was not Jamie Foxx.
My goodness.
This podcast has taken a turn.
I hope Winfrey weighs in on Twitter.
He's fucking like out there right now, man.
I know, dude. When you said we're going to cover TMNT 2, he's like, I'd rather risk my life on the Rapids. I'll see you later.
All right. Let's get on with this here. All right. So, are we done with Baxter Stockman and wanting to bang Jamie Foxx?
I hope so.
I did not say I wanted to bang Jamie Foxx.
The entire internet heard you say it.
Oh goodness.
Jason Teasley is never going to come on another one of my podcasts again and wonder why he became friends with me.
It's like, son of a bitch. Damn it. I do not want to screw Jamie Foxx. Was there any other characters that we missed? I mean, we covered the big ones pretty much, didn't we? Oh, Will Arnett. I liked him. I thought he was kind of funny.
Will Arnett played Will Arnett.
Yes, he did.
Nothing to cover here.
That's true.
His contribution to the film was exactly what it was supposed to be. It was, they were like, here, you take credit for everything that happened in the first movie, and he does, and he plays that character fine. And when they take it away from him, he says, "Oh, it sucks." I could have been content.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Teasley, you complained about the plot, didn't you?
Well, I mean, it was the plot was okay. I like the story. I just think that they shoehorned a lot of stuff in it, and you could have took some stuff out of it that was irrelevant. I mean, I think they extended some stuff too far, and they didn't expound on stuff that they needed to. Like, I think the whole Brazilian thing they could have cut down a little bit, but I see it as a much needed evil, I guess you could say. And by the way, you're welcome for the clip.
Yeah, I just watched that.
But like I said, I think that they could have done away with the jungle scene a little bit, and I think they could have expounded, like Jesse said earlier, with a little bit more, gave a little bit more of the first interaction of Krang and Shredder. But just
I actually thought that scene went on forever.
Story, it wasn't bad.
See,
I'll give the story a 7.5.
I gave the exact opposite reaction to that scene with Krang and Shredder. I was like, can we get on with this already?
No, we
I
can't.
thought the scene was too long.
You know what, Mark? Falling a barrel of flaccid dicks right now.
Oh goodness. Flaccid.
I still love you though.
Why do you hate me? I don't understand. What did I say wrong?
I don't hate you. I love you, Mark. I love you as much as I love Jamie Foxx.
That's a lot, but that's not what I'm asking. What? So I said I thought the scene was too long. What's your issue there? You took umbrage with it.
Well, I mean, they could have done away with. It was basically okay. This is a good example. The snow scene where they're using each other as sleds from the first movie, and the 3D stuff that they wanted to get 3D for being 3D from the first movie, because I watched it in 2D because I'm a cheap bastard. Even though the movie was free, I still went with the 2D because I'm that cheap. But I think they've done some of the scenes in the jungle for the sake of offering it in 3D, like the whole tank firing and the jumping out of the way slow-mo scene. Okay, I get it. It's also offered in 3D. You got to give the 3D effect. Yippee-ki-yay! But I think they could have condensed that down a little bit and just had them like I'm trying to think of a good way to put it. Had the turtles show up too late, and then just basically Bebop and Rocksteady just totally outmatched the turtles, and the turtles stand no chance. Instead of giving the turtles a fighting chance, and just let their differences ultimately, they didn't expound on it much, but let their differences be the downfall, and just see them get totally annihilated in the recovery because of their differences, instead of making it look like, oh, well, here we're doing something 3D for 3D's sake, and having them go, oh, well, okay, well, they're just going to bicker a little bit here and there at the end because it got away. No, it should have been expounded upon a little bit more, saying, okay, look, we can't get along, that's why we got our asses kicked.
Okay. And let's keep going here. I don't think there were too many other characters here that was worth talking about. I mean, do you want to add anything more about the plot, Jesse?
When you see a Michael Bay movie, I think you become accustomed to action as being filler. I really do. I mean, that's kind of what you see a lot of. It's not, extensively plot-driven, but it's more action-packed. And he does a great job when it comes to the special effects. I enjoy some of those scenes. However, I do want to point out that it does feel repetitious. All right, let's look at the final scene that we have and compare it to the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that he did. And what do you know? We're fighting on top of something high in the sky yet again, while shit starts falling down all over the place yet again. I think that, really, if you go back and look at a lot of his movies, there's quite a few of those instances that occur where we're fighting all the way up top. It's just kind of crazy stuff. We could fall off the side at any moment. But it adds that dramatic tension. And I couldn't help but sit there and think to myself, here we are again on the top of something, fighting the big bad. So there's that. Plot-wise, when it comes to the turtles themselves, you're always going to have that internal strife, as we've mentioned before, between Raph and Leo, and that's going to extend somehow. They're going to disagree with each other, but at the end, our brothers come together to fight the common enemy.
Let me ask you guys this. What did you think of the subplot with the reverse engineering the grape drink so that the turtles could become human? And the idea of, like, Mikey especially wanting to, because he's the one that it centers most on. You end up having the argument between Leonardo and Raphael about it, but ultimately it's Mikey who clings most to humanity, and is most affected by their, he's the one that's in the first movie hitting on April, and he's the one, like I said, he's the one that clings most closely to humanity, and so thereby most affected by their desire to continue to be turtles, hiding in the shadows. So I thought in the balance of other things they were having to do in the movie, I thought they dealt with that effectively enough. I thought they gave it enough screen time for it to be effective. In a different movie, in a different world, I think that could have been the main plot of this movie, and they could have really focused on that and done a little bit more with it. But, you had the bit where they were exposed in the police department and the cops are calling them monsters. You have, them feeling like fish out of water, and, you have the idea of, we're stronger as turtles than we are as anything else, and so this is worth continuing to be this way. Maybe a different director with a defter hand handles it better, but this is a movie for fucking kids, for Christ's sake, and I thought it was handled just fine. I want to get your opinion on that. Turtles as humans. Go, Jesse.
They tied it in nice with the main plot pretty well. We've got the mutagen or the ooze, which I don't even think they call it mutagen in this. I think it's just always called the ooze.
I'm going with grape drink.
Purple drink.
Purple drink. Purple drink is what I call it.
So I think they tied that in there pretty cool, pretty nice. I did, however, I wanted the way that plot wrapped up to end differently. I wanted the Turtles to be known throughout New York as, hey, we got some turtles living in the sewers that are going to save our skins every once in a while. I wanted them to be able to enjoy that superhero aspect of being a turtle and being known. I thought that would make the dynamic of the Turtles a lot different than staying in the shadows.
That just leads to registrations.
Well, and of course they're ninjas. That's their thing. Got to be in the shadows. But go ahead, Teasley.
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch on is the fact that they are ninjas. They're trained in the ninja way. They're meant to be in the shadows, meant not to be seen. So basically, when they're doing the plot device and Mikey wanting to be human, they're breaking the code that was always instilled in them, is to be in the shadows, to be felt and never seen.
Yeah, and
I
these are.
think that they could have expounded on that a little bit more. I think they handled it really good.
Yeah.
But I think they could have went a little bit further. And this goes back to one of the big gripes I have with the personalities of the Turtles. Michelangelo, they portrayed as a kid. And they're all supposed to be this. If you remember, Michelangelo is just supposed to be this, really laid-back, carefree individual. He's not a kid. And they basically gave him the mentality of a 10-year-old. While everybody else, the mature ones.
I disagree with that.
Let me hop in here first, Mark. They're teenagers. And I think a lot of what they might be driving at with that bit of plot is the fact that, hey, man, if you're a teenager, the only thing you want to be is accepted, and you want to belong with, with other people.
It was heavy-handed.
Okay, all right, and
that's
the only thing.
Acceptance of who you are.
Okay, that's the only other thing I could think of to maybe kind of justify that. But I mean, as for Michelangelo acting like a kid, he's always been the immature one, the one that's going around, yelling "Cowabunga, dude," and all that goofy shit. He's always been the goofy guy, the party animal or whatever. But when you look at the way these turtles act, and they're supposed to be teenagers, they do seem pretty mature for. In my opinion, they seem to be pretty mature for teenagers, supposedly. But, hey, I'm not a turtle, and I wasn't raised by a rat, so I guess I don't have that going for me. What were you going to say, Mark?
I would say that Michelangelo's opinion on the matter follows. When you think about, actually, I think this is one of the things that the original movie did pretty well was, but they did it with Raphael instead of Michelangelo. Who's just in those movies, he's just pizza obsessed. But in this one, they kind of gave him the character of he's Jack Nicholson and in the movie with Helen Hunt, not about Schmidt, the other one. Oh gosh, help me out, guys.
Shit, the one
as
with
a
there you go.
As good as he's Jack Nicholson's character from As Good as It Gets. He's like, is this it? Is this all there is to life? I'm just supposed to live in this sewer with my 3 other brothers and my rat father, and I'm not supposed to find love. I'm not supposed to have my own life. This is all there is. And I think a teenager who is trying to find their own identity and their own way in the world. I mean, think of it this way. What if instead of being 4 turtles in a sewer, what if they were an army family? And the expectation is we all go, we all join the service. And well, is that all there is in this world? Is that all there is to life? We grow up, we get married, we go in the service, blah blah yakety shackety. Like, what if I want to be more than that? What if I, what if I want to dance? What if I dared to be something more than what's expected of me? And I thought they handled that very well because even as I say, could you imagine if they actually gave that a lot of screen time?
Yeah.
I think of poor Caleb. You know?
Dude, there's no way. He was itching to get up out of his seat as soon as there was, just any lull in the action. I was afraid I was going to lose him. Thank goodness Rocksteady showed up and farted.
You just turn
I
around.
do have one question.
And there's Caleb
That was
crawling
never
alongside of the screen like Spider-Man. Like, get down you idiot.
And my boy.
I have one plot hole that I want to ask you guys, and maybe I missed it.
Okay.
From the first movie, didn't Shredder fall off the building and land and be drug under a manhole cover?
Oh, dude, he was straight up. Well, I don't remember him being drug under a manhole cover. I remember him landing on I thought he was dead.
Yeah, or he landed in a hole or something.
It's been a while since I watched it, Mark.
And next thing you know, he's magically in police custody. How did that happen?
Okay. Fuck you. Because here's why. He falls into a garbage truck in the first movie. Casey Jones proceeds to squish him. He shows up in the second movie and becomes Kevin Nash.
Well, no. In the second movie, he was Super Shredder, and Vanilla Ice was there, and Kevin Nash, and so that equals fuck you, Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze.
Uh-huh.
Magic.
I will see your fuck you and raise you a no.
Well,
I know you're not built right.
Spoiler alert. All right, and at the end of issue number 1 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the comic book, Shredder dies.
Here we go, plugging your damn
I
source
just gave it
material.
away. I just fucking gave it away. You guys don't even have to go listen. But he straight up dies just like that. But it's not a fall, although he does fall off a building. Are you guys catching a theme here? He falls off a building, but a grenade explodes. He's holding a grenade as he goes down. So I don't know which death is worse. But either way, guess what? The Shredder fucking comes back no matter what.
Yeah, I'm really
I think Shredder is like early Jason Voorhees.
That's pretty scary. That's a scary thought.
I like that theory. I'm good with that. the immortal Shredder. All right.
It's
in
the
the
ancient Chinese secret.
In the interest of time here, let's go ahead and move this forward. We have about 37 minutes left. Now, is there any burning desires here? Is there anything left unsaid? I mean, like going into this, I knew that we would have a conversation because it would be the three of us. But I actually didn't have a lot to say other than talking about some of the performances because I'm not a CGI snob. It looked fine to me, but the action sequences were fine. I thought the plot was fine. I thought it was all very entertaining. I think like I said, after Batman v Superman, after Civil War, after X-Men, I needed this, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I needed a little bit of lighthearted fun at the movie, and it made sense. That's all I ask of these movies. So I don't have a lot more to say. I'm going to let you guys have burning desires, and then we got to talk about money. And then I debated whether or not I was even going to do this without Winfrey, but I feel like there were enough terrible things said about this movie that we could all at least have a giggle. So we've got 2 more segments of the show left. We need to get to them. So go ahead, guys. Burning desires, final thoughts, go.
All right, I'll step in here first, Teasley. If you're out and you want to watch a fun movie, I think you could do a lot worse than the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. You go out there. I think it does well as you don't have to watch the first movie to understand exactly what's going on in the second movie. It's not like everybody's coming back, and they certainly don't rehash a whole lot. They give you the intro to the Turtles like Teasley hates, but that's probably specifically to support that this can be a standalone movie by itself. It doesn't feel like you are picking up anything from the first one at all. So I had a good time. Took my kids. Took my kid. Don't let my daughter hear that, or she'll throw a fit. I took Caleb. I took Caleb, and we went and saw it. And I love the fact that it's something that I could take my son and watch something that is somewhat related to what I grew up on. When it comes to special effects, if I'm going to sit here and be the nostalgic Jesse Starcher that I usually am, this movie has the first 1990 movie beat clean out the water. I didn't really touch on how I liked the way the turtles looked, other than I didn't like their noses. As for the being hulking and CGI and all that stuff, doesn't bother me a bit. That fit with the movie just fine, and I was able to roll with it. So it was cool to take Caleb to it. If you guys have kids, it's good family fun. I think we had a good time. So that's really all I have to say.
In closing, all I have to say is, did you guys watch the video that I sent that said, this is pretty much going to be me when we do the show? It shows the guy doing the ninja rap, and then his girlfriend says, here, I'm going to show you a trailer, and he cusses her out and says, those aren't my damn turtles. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
But yeah, I had my Raphael mask on, had my size. I was ready. I was in the theater. A 6'1" ginger dresses Raphael at a 12 p.m. show on a Sunday. Yeah, that was me.
Oh boy.
The people might have looked at me a little weird at the theater, but hey, who cares?
Here's that Teasley again, dressing up.
I think this was a good movie to just not nostalgic value. I liked it. Overall, I liked the movie. I mean, yeah, I had some issues with it, but it didn't take me completely out of the movie. I did like it. So I guess you could say that I would recommend this movie. But if you're going to go see it as a 37-year-old, don't dress up as Raphael. They kind of frown on that, and you might end up on some website. I don't know.
Yeah, you're on somebody's list. I guarantee it.
Let me like I said, Mark said it was a good movie. You could definitely do worse than this. Go see Batman versus Superman, and you could understand why you could do worse than this. But like I said, Jesse, you said it good. You could take a family to see it. People of our age grew up with the 90s cartoon, grew up with the comic books. It has a lot of nostalgic value. So it introduces new fans to the Turtles, as well as holds a nostalgic value with an older audience that grew up with them. So I recommend going to see it.
My daughter, for her part, 5-year-old, has no relationship with Turtles at all. Only saw the 2014 movie a few weeks ago when I forced it on my entire family for family movie night, much to my wife's chagrin. And she was excited about going to see it, and it was funny because she was more still during Alice than she was during the Turtles. During the Turtles, she tended to move around a lot. And I asked her when it was on, I'm like, were you bored? Did you not like the movie? She was like, yeah, it was okay. And I said, what was your favorite part? She was like, I like the blue turtle and the purple turtle. Not a fan of the orange turtle. He's weird. And the red turtle, he's neat. That was sort of her interpretation of the movie. Give her a break. She's 5. But I mean, it was the theater was packed with kids, and the kids seemed to be having a good time, and that's really all I care about.
My theater was dead, man. I mean, my theater was flat. Stuff that, I mean, of course, I went there on a Sunday in the afternoon, so I can't really bitch. But when did you go? Did you go premiere night, or was it shortly after?
No, I went Sunday. I went to the first showing Sunday morning.
Oh, that's right, because I was sitting there saying I was heading there right after you. Well, was there any cheers? Any cheers, claps, or boos, or anything like that in the theater?
I don't know, because as soon as it was over, I was deluged with fucking emails and from work and all this other stuff. My poor daughter, like, can we go now? She's like, Nuke, they're dead, all right. you know. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
really? I have to answer emails. So,
sit still.
all right. So here we go with part 2 of our weekly movie review. Here's a little segment called Here Comes the Money.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money,
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, ching. Got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
All right. So this movie had a budget of $135 million. We're about halfway there. Currently at $77 million. Not great. Not a great opening for the second movie here. This may be falling into sequelitis, superhero fatigue, as they call it. There's just a lot of very similar stuff jam-packed into these summer movies, and then I think there might be also a lot of people like you guys, who have rosy nostalgia glasses for the first movies and see these and go, these are not my turtles, and so they turn away from them and they don't bring their kids. So just doing a showdown between this one and the 2014. The first one had a budget of $125 million and ultimately made $191. This one, we talked about that. They say that with movies that are especially made for kids, I mean, like Zootopia just crossed the $1 billion mark. That came out in fucking March, I think it was. So
wow.
So these tend to have some staying power in terms of making money over time. What I'm trying to find is what the in terms of showdowns, what the comparisons were after 4 days. Oh, here we go. 5-day totals. In 5 days, the 2014 TMNT made about $80 million. In 5 days, this made about half of that, which is becoming a trend. For example, Apocalypse versus Days of Future Past. The 12-day total for Apocalypse was $122 million versus Days of Future Past, which was $168 million. Alice in Wonderland, after 12 days, $221 million. Alice Through the Looking Glass, bam, 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 $54 million. Yikes. Yeah. So I think people just might be like, all right, enough already. Will it make us money? Yeah, probably. I can't imagine if this is going to lose money. I just think that I don't think people were running out to the movies to go see it. I think people will see it as the summer progresses until it finally comes out of the theater. Where we stand right now in America. Captain America is the number one movie in the country at $391 million, followed closely by Deadpool at $363, The Jungle Book, another Disney movie, at $348, Zootopia, another Disney movie, at $337, and then rounding out the top 5 is Batman v Superman at $329 million. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are Kung Fu Panda, X-Men Apocalypse, right along too, which is still hanging in there from January of all movies. The Angry Birds, and oddly enough, 10 Cloverfield Lane. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles currently sits at number 22 for the year. We'll see how it does this weekend. It's nestled ever so lightly between How to Be Single and Money Monster. That's where we are domestically. Worldwide, things change just a wee bit. Again, number one in the world, Captain America with over $1 billion. Zootopia with just under that, but over $1 billion. The Jungle Book, Batman v Superman, Deadpool round out your top 5. The high watermark right now, if you want to be in the top 10 and have any possible way of staying there, is you got to make over $500 million. worldwide. Right now, your midway point there is number 6. A foreign movie called The Mermaid is at $553 million. It was put out by Sony. Followed shortly by Kung Fu Panda, again from way back in January. X-Men Apocalypse, Monster Hunt, another foreign movie, and The Angry Birds. Boy, people who thought The Angry Birds was going to bomb, fuck you people. On a $73 million budget, this thing's a smash, okay? $286 million worldwide. Not quite Minions, which made $1 billion fucking dollars, strangely enough. But still doing pretty good in its own right. So the Angry Birds movies are we're definitely going to get another one. It's going to be Revenge of the Pigs. As far as where the Turtles lie worldwide, 28. So they're actually doing worse worldwide than they are doing domestically. Jesse, that's the money. Any
That's numbers. Hold on a second. I got to do something. Teasley.
What?
I was just making sure you're still awake. I have.
Barely, I'm eating.
I can tell. Is it pizza?
No, it's corn chips because I'm on a diet.
All right. Oh, okay. You and Winfrey have the numbers down and know exactly what's what. I listen to this podcast just so I can kind of learn from you guys. So let's just say I'm still learning. I wouldn't know what heads or tails or how that looks or what to expect. I would hope that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I don't know. I mean, the Michael Bay backlash. It's just, I wonder how much it really factors into people parting with that money and going to go see it. After the first one, I don't know if there was a whole lot of people let down after seeing the first one or not, or if it gained more fans. The more you turn off, the more people you could potentially bring to the product. But
well, like I said, the most of the cast has been signed on for 3 movies.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be a third one, whether we like it or not. I think that I got an article here from Cinema Blend. Will there be a third movie? Here's what the cast told us. Hang on, fucking stupid advertisements clogging my screen. Okay, here's what Stephen Amell said. I think the idea with franchises now is if it's successful, they're going to keep doing it. I know they certainly have the right to bring me back for an additional one. I had such a good time filming this movie and filming in New York City that I'd be happy to come back. So that's Stephen Amell on whether or not there'll be a sequel. Like I said, I don't think we're out of the water. We're out of the running yet. I think that was only its first week. Yes,
yeah, we're in week 1.
Yeah, movies tend to go down, but again, I think was it like The Force Awakens just finished its domestic run or some crazy thing. There's some movie where I didn't even realize it was still in theaters and it's still out there. They're still selling tickets to it. So I unfortunately it's up in the air whether or not 3 will be greenlit. And only $35 million its opening weekend, which was over $30 million less than its predecessor. I think the studio will probably go ahead and greenlit the one. This is Paramount, and Paramount does not have a lot. They don't have a whole lot that they're coming to the table with. If I look at let's just go look at 2015 and look at just the domestic ones and see what
their big money makers were.
What their big money makers were real quick. Paramount. Okay, yeah. So for Paramount, their big one was, and this is just domestic. So here in the United States, Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. which
Okay.
ranked number 11 at $195 million. Then there was, in second place, there was SpongeBob. That was at 18th place with 162. Daddy's Home was 150 million. And then in 32nd place was fucking Terminator Genesis,
Jeez.
which was a huge letdown.
Mhm.
The Big Short was a surprise hit and one of the best movies of last year. So, that was 2015. Let me go ahead and look at worldwide for this year. See how Paramount's doing. Paramount's got 10 Cloverfield Lane, The Turtles, 13 Hours, Zoolander 2, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and Everybody Wants Some. Those last three all bombed. And I don't even think 13 Hours did very well either. So it probably behooves them to go ahead and do the third Turtle movie and just maybe do something, don't have Shredder in it this time. Do something different. Let's get Usagi Yojimbo into the mix.
Shit. Look at you dropping some characters.
Yeah, I remember Usagi Yojimbo. Real quick, give me. I'm gonna put you on the spot here, Jesse. With all your comic book knowledge, if you were gonna close out this trilogy, to tie a little bow on it, go ahead and pitch me how you would end the trilogy.
Ooh, wow. I was just sitting here thinking about what they're going to do next. And when Krang left, I mean, they clearly left it open, and because Shredder's bound to return once they do the third one. Krang's going to return. I could possibly see the Triceratons making an appearance, which I don't know a whole lot about them. But if we're going to start hopping dimensions and all this other bullshit that's going to start happening, that's probably going to work its way in. And it's going to be more of the Brotherhood dynamic. I don't know.
I think they have to go to Japan. I think they took Baxter Stockman to Japan. I just threw out there Usagi Yojimbo as another animated character. I think they have to finish this up in Japan. I think there has to be a reason for them. Now, I don't know what they could be doing there with Shredder gone and there being, maybe somebody above the guy who taught Shredder or the guy who started the Foot Clan, or whatever order that Shredder belonged to that he split from to start his own thing, which became the Foot Clan. Again, fill in the gaps here. I'm just making shit up. But
well, I'll tell you,
there has to be a bigger bad that comes from Japan.
I don't know about that, but I mean, when it comes to plot, I think our big bads are always going to be Shredder and Krang. But I think the Triceratons were a bigger bad than Krang, so I would see that. I could see them maybe make an appearance, possibly, and they're going to potentially try to take over the world. But here, besides plot, which I'm horrible with, I'll tell you right now what I would do, okay? And I would give a nod to every single fucking thing that happened in the cartoon and in the comic in that movie. I don't care if I have a limited budget or what. There's going to be a nod somewhere. Like maybe every other fucking scene, you're going to see, oh, there's the Mousers. Oh, wait a second. Look at that. There's the Neutrinos. Oh, wait a second. There's Turtle Prime. I mean, it's just all sorts of crazy stuff. Oh, wait a second. That's Metalhead over there. There's Leather. I mean, just all sorts of stuff. Rat King. Just throwing out.
Metalhead would be awesome.
Dude, video game will be nodding to characters from the video game, the big rock guys. Dude, I would just that
Mona
thing would
Lisa.
make money. It would make money with the new people, and everybody from the old school would actually be able to walk into that theater and be excited about seeing all their favorite things show up on the screen.
Okay, would you include Mona Lisa?
No, Venus de Milo. Mona Lisa would not show
Mona
up.
Lisa.
We've had this discussion.
Mona Lisa.
Venus de
I want
Milo.
the rabbit.
Usagi Yojimbo. Yeah, Mark says Usagi for sure. I can see them going to
I
Japan
want the Rebel.
to get him out of there.
No, you know what they need to do? They need
Tell
to
me.
travel back in time
Oh, yeah.
Nope.
when civilization was just
Nobody.
starting,
No.
and they need to go. They need to go back in time to Japan when the Foot Clan was first started, and they could wear samurai stuff and have a lantern.
Hey, Teasley, Toka and Razor shows up in this third movie. Are you going to say thumbs up or thumbs down?
I'll piss on the screen.
Oh, whatever, man. You'll thumbs up it. You'll be like, all right, that's a good little. Just saying a nod. I'm not talking about main characters.
No, if Vanilla Ice shows up with the ninja rap, then it gets a thumbs up.
Oh, okay. All right. I hear you. See,
Go ninja, go ninja, go. And to that I say,
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
oh, Michael Scott.
No! No!
all right. When you hear Michael Scott, you know it's time for. We're going to do a few of these because we have 15 minutes left and we got an hour and a half of plugs for Jesse. So, all right. David Crow of Den of Geeks. It's not the worst superhero movie this year, but your mileage will vary, especially for those with little interest in old reheated cinematic pizza.
I can see where he's coming from there for sure, because it feels repetitive and kind of stale sometimes. But you know, like I said, I enjoyed some of the aspects. I mean, the newer stuff, Bebop and Rocksteady, I honestly wondered if I was actually going to see them on the screen. So they threw some hot sauce on the reheated slice of pizza and made it a little bit spicy. So I'm all right with that.
Francesca Rutkin, New Zealand Herald, says it's the same formula as before, with a little more soul searching from the turtles and thankfully less creepy flirting.
Yeah.
we worried about interspecies relations here?
Kind of bestiality.
Yeah.
All right. Javier Porta Fuz of La Nation. It will make you miss the playfulness, pop colors, and grace of the original 90s trilogy.
All right. Can I interject something real quick?
Please.
I have to get up at 4 a.m.
Okay.
So I'm checking out now.
You're checking out now?
Like usually.
Yeah. I have to get up at 4 a.m.
You want to plug anything before you leave?
So, I do stuff, and stuff will be done in the future. There's my plug.
Good luck, Steve. See you tomorrow.
Thanks for having me, and go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
Okay. The character Oswaldo Betancourt Lozano of Chilango.com.
Do these fucking people have a normal name? Can you find somebody with a name like Ben or Jim or something like that instead of Francesca? Bro.
Oswaldo Betancourt Lozano. The characters are more in tune with the original cartoon, but it feels like the type of humor doesn't entirely work in a live-action adaptation.
I miss Winfrey. Winfrey is able to tear these things apart so easily. One of the things that Benjamin J. Cologne said to me is that he heard that it was, this is before I went, he said it was very much, he heard that it was very much an homage to or a love letter to the original cartoon, which after understanding what he said there, that made me enjoy the movie probably a whole lot more. Because
I would actually very much agree with that. Yeah, here's somebody with a normal name. Greg Wakeman of CinemaBlend.com, a website I read very often. More half-assed than half-shelled.
He's king of the one-liner.
Lindsay Barr of the Associated Press. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows is a Saturday morning cartoon on Michael Bay steroids. For the under 12 set, that's fine. For the rest of us, it's something to actively avoid.
Different strokes for different folks.
Paul Whittington of the Irish Independent. A film full of loud noises and flashy effects that is watchable after a fashion.
Okay.
I'm trying to find some of the really funny ones.
I'm going through, just while you're doing this, I'm adding some tweets to the mix just to see if we can find anything fun tweets, and I might not. I looked specifically for TMNT Sucks, and I haven't seen any yet, so.
Christy Puchko of Comic Book Resources. When Michael Bay is producer, is it in the fine print that a female lead must strut in slow-mo while wearing a tight white blouse to be obligingly leered at?
I'll tell you what, right now, Megan Fox tying that shirt, yeah. Homina.
Soren Anderson, Seattle Times. Better title, When Really Ugly CG Creatures Fight.
I don't think they're going to sell too many tickets with that one.
Josh Bell of Las Vegas Weekly. The movie on the whole pitches itself at the volume and subtlety level required to reach an audience of hyperactive 9-year-olds.
Again.
Roger Moore of Movie Nation. Shiny and stupid.
Shiny. Very shiny.
All right. Here, this is the last one I'm going to read, just because.
All right.
This is for you, Winfrey. Kath Clark of Time Out, top critic. Top critic, okay? She gets paid to write this shit. Remember that. Forget Cowabunga. This is Cowadunga.
Oh, zing. Cowadunga.
Cowadunga. All right. So next week, here on the Rad Legend Broadcasting Network, we will be reviewing the World of Warcraft adaptation to a full-length feature, Warcraft: The Beginning, currently standing at a 24% on Rotten Tomatoes. Jesse, nothing this summer since Civil War has had a positive rating that we've reviewed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Nothing on Rotten Tomatoes, nothing that we've reviewed has been a fresh rating since Civil War. Yeah, it's crazy.
I just saw, and I shared this with you. I don't know if you saw it, but I just saw a Dig article pop up on my feed, and specifically it was titled that the World of War critics believe that oh man, I can't even remember the title, but I know it was absolutely fucking terrible. It was in the title of this supposedly critics panning the World of Warcraft movie. I can tell you, I don't know if it was at your theater or not, but the trailers that ran before TMNT here was one of them was the World of Warcraft trailer, and I'm sorry, man, I was not impressed. It was like you want to talk about bad CGI? It looked like a cartoon. It looked like Pete's Dragon, like fucking half human, half cartoon stuff going on. So
we'll see. I'll have to see the finished product, but I'll tell you this: all I care about is that I was right, because I have been saying for the longest time now that despite the fact that there's all this internet hate towards the new Ghostbusters movie, that if they gear the marketing of that movie towards kids, it's going to do well and there's going to be people. This isn't going to die the way everyone wants it to, the way all the snarky internet dudes want it to. This is gonna end up being a hit because it's going after the right audience. And lo and behold, when I saw Angry Birds, there was a trailer for Ghostbusters. When I saw Zootopia, it wasn't Zootopia, but there was something else that I brought my kids to that we saw a trailer for Ghostbusters. Everything that I have brought my daughter to, there has been a trailer for Ghostbusters. And you know what was the trailer before Ninja Turtles? Fucking Ghostbusters.
That wasn't at my theater. That's crazy. I got one burning question though.
Sure.
Have you ever played World of Warcraft?
Yeah, I almost got divorced over it.
No. Oh man, you must go into that story when you guys review the movie. I got to hear that.
It was before we had kids. Basically, I had a schedule where I worked. I was off on Fridays, and so like I would work Monday through Thursday, but it would be 10-hour shifts. So I was off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and my wife worked a normal, Monday through Friday schedule. And I would literally stay in Fridays and just play World of Warcraft till she got home. And and then I got my character got high enough that I started raiding. And of course, and if you've ever played the game, raids take place at certain times. And whenever I forget whatever the group you join decides they're gonna raid. And so I would have to like schedule it. And my wife finally was like, I've had enough of this shit. So we made a deal that I would quit playing World of Warcraft until I was fully retired and the kids were out of the house.
Can I ask when this was? I mean, how long ago was when you finally hung up the gauntlets?
Lily's 5, so do the math.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, I was just trying to figure out if you were around when Leroy Jenkins yelled his famous war battle cry.
I know that was a thing. I know that was an accomplishment that you could get. So I played pretty much until I quit playing sometime after the what was the name of it? Whatever the expansion was, where you went into the snow.
Sure. That was Snow Warcraft.
I played up to that expansion, and then I quit, and then I briefly played again because I really wanted to see what the new World of Warcraft would look like. So I got whatever the new expansion was, where they revamped the entire map, and you could play as like the little green people, and everybody could have pets. That was the other thing that they changed. So I played a little bit of that, and then I was like, okay, I got kids now. I don't have time for this shit anymore. Just real quick. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 34%. Alice of the Looking Glass, 29%. X-Men, 47%. Angry Birds, 43%. Money Monster, 54%. And then Civil War, 90%. So that's what I mean. Like everything that we've reviewed or that I've gone to see since Civil War has all been rotten. Rotten.
Wow.
I was the king of all the rotten.
Oh, sing it, buddy. That's some corrosion right there.
That's right.
I don't know. A lot of malcontent people out there have an opinion and get on the internet, and most of the people you find on the internet are pissed off about something anyway. So, but I mean, Kira seemed to like the Looking Glass show, and I think when it comes, it's all about the money. So we'll see how it goes. World of Warcraft may be a big hit.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I mean, Winfrey was pretty down on it. He's like, it's not going to make money. It's not going to be good. It's going to be a disaster. I don't have the numbers up in front of me, but it's like I said, it's already made money overseas. So we'll see how it does in the United States. Who knows? But we've got about a minute 30 seconds left, so I'm just going to go ahead and say that Ninja Turtles Week wraps up tomorrow on Long Road to Ruin. Jesse and Teasley, I think, will be back. I'm not sure. I guess Ben's going to be on too, and he hasn't really confirmed one way or the other. But we are expecting a handful of people to join in the show and just sort of celebrate the Turtles, the trilogy of the 90s. You're not going to get too much analysis from myself and Sean. We're just going to let these guys kind of come on and have fun and talk about their love of the Turtles, which is why I didn't want to do a lot of that tonight. Next week is Warcraft. On Metal Hammer of Doom, it's just going to be Jesse and me doing Volbeat, Seal the Deal, and Let's Booger. And on Thursday, there's no Long Road to Ruin. However, myself and Robert Cooper will review the entire Voltron series that's going to be debuting Friday on Netflix. So we're adding another Netflix show into the mix here. We're going to review the entire new 2016 Netflix exclusive Voltron reboot. So that ought to be fun. I'll make my kids sit down and watch that and see how they like it. Jesse, go ahead and do your plugs, and then we're getting out of here.
All right, man. I do a show here on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network called Source Material. It's a comic book related show where I go back and check out some of the great storylines that are out there in comics. We do a lot of DC, a lot of Marvel, and we also do some independent. Hence, this past Monday, we did a great show on the very first issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Came out in 1984. And I know I already spoiled it for you, but I tell you what, the discussion that we had, it was me, Ronnie Adams from the Screaming Boy podcast, my buddy Justin Thomas, and Benjamin J. Cologne, that Long Road to Ruin title card artist. They all came on there, and we had a great discussion about the movies, the comics, the toys, and even the video games. Oh, man, it was a blast. So if you guys get a chance, go back in the archives. You can check that out. You can follow me at Stiznarchy on Twitter. Also, here at just like Mark said, we're going to be on Long Road to Ruin tomorrow. Yesterday, I was on the Metal Hammer of Doom. Had a good time talking about undeny ! A bull from Hell Yeah. And I felt like it was very divisive. It wasn't hostile. It was a lot of fun to talk about it, but it was very divisive amongst us three about the opinions of that album. So if you're a metalhead, go back and check it out. And hey, check it out. I made another Turtles reference. And that's, as far as I can tell, next episode of Source Material will be just me talking to like a bunch of our previous guests that I've had on there, talking about who or what they're reading right now. It's called the What You're Reading Special. That's going to air near the end of June. And I think that's about it. I don't have anything else to plug, so I appreciate you having me on here. My first ever Blockbuster / movie club / something movie review club thing here. I had a lot of fun.
All right. Well, the next time Winfrey takes a day off, we'll be happy to have you back if you happen to go see the movie. For Jesse Starcher, for Jason Teasley, I am your mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. This has been a Radulich and Broadcasting presentation of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows review. Be well, be safe, and behave.